evening, everybody.
What is up?
Different look tonight, different feel. But for all the people who were looking for proof of life for Benjamin, he's in the shot, and
He's got my back.
he's got T's back. We are we're missing a man.
We're missing
Kevin's
a
not here
man.
tonight.
We're missing headphones.
Yeah, we are missing headphones.
I don't think we're missing much else.
No, we're not missing anything else. We got the crew in. Let's see. Good. We got some sound.
Dark with our hats on.
Yeah. The thing is, if I go with no hat, watch what happens on the screen. And I have to hear it from AGH and mostly AGH, but also Greg and Robert Cohen and E.O. Anderson and Ricka. Like the light just like fills. It's like a Christmas tree. I have more hair than this lighting makes me look. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to do this. I'm not like trying to solicit. I'm not trying to solicit, like Just for Men sponsorships or anything. Not yet. At some point I am.
I would take every dollar I could get.
All right. I'll
Just
give you
for
my
Men
last
wants to
dollar.
call you. Actually, we do have a beard episode happening right now. An all beard show.
All beard show? I mean,
Ricka can't grow one, so
that's the only. It's the only downfall.
not that I can't either. I try.
I think you do all right.
Hey, thanks, buddy. I appreciate that.
Remember, initially you were when you would try to grow a beard, I'd be like,
I never had the patience.
Don't you just not shave? And then all of a sudden you'd be like, because you have to get through that like stage.
Dude, I haven't shaved for 2 months.
I know. What I'm saying is, initially you would be like trying, but it would be like a week or two in.
Yeah.
You get a little cat scratch in there, and you'd be like, I'm done.
Yeah, no.
So
I
basically
got
you-
all the patience in the world now, ever since COVID
You
started.
only ever had a bad beard, but now you have a great beard because you actually stuck with it. But you went through a whole phase of growing a beard where you just went bad beard all the time.
Yeah, no. I just all it took was me to get lazy.
First of all, I'd like to appreciate everyone's support for my hair online tonight. All of you out there, I appreciate it. I want to go ahead and get this thing
We're a
started.
supportive bunch.
Welcome. Thank you. Appreciate you guys for being with us on a Tuesday night. I'm Ken Marangolo. First Amendment Sports is proud to present Thank God It's Tuesday. He's Tim Strachan.
Man, we were riding high for a while, and at a time of the year, if you haven't noticed, I like to eat around this time of year, and I like to eat a lot of pie as well, along with other things. But pie seems to be prevalent this time of year. It's a winter food.
Nothing wrong with pie.
I've had apple pie. I've had pecan pie. I've had pumpkin pie. I've had all kinds of pie. We just got served a big healthy serving of humble pie on
Really?
Sunday.
You segued to humble
Well,
pie?
but just because we
From
were
the greatness
so-
of pie?
we were riding so high on that 4-game winning streak, and so
That's the worst
confident-
pie.
So confident going into that game,
You don't serve that in pie season.
and even though we made it respectable at the end, it was for 3 quarters. That was a rough game. That was some rough pie to swallow.
I think you besmirched the goodness of pie. Like I would have taken a 3.14 reference.
That was humble pie.
Or
That was a
you-
little bit
you
of
went
humble pie.
straight- So, all right.
Well, I mean, I just was making a food reference. Humble
All right.
pie just seemed
Okay,
to be
well.
the right way to go.
I was excited for a second.
Explain why
thought we were gonna have a pie show.
Explain why I've gained so much weight.
Maybe talk about a little pumpkin
just
pie,
a couple of months.
little mud pie. My favorite pie is mud pie.
Well, we could have
Is
said turd
cheesecake a
pie.
pie?
Could have said turd pie.
Is cheesecake a pie?
Is cheesecake a pie?
Yeah, that's in my is cereal soup category
Yeah,
of
they
questions.
call it a
And I'm
cake.
like at the top of the show.
They
First
call
of all,
it a cake, but yes, I
No,
can. I
they
can
don't
see-
call it a cake. It's
cheesecake.
It's one word, no hyphen, cheesecake. But it's not like space cake. Like
it is more
chocolate
pie.
cake.
It is more pie than it is cake.
German chocolate cake.
It is more
Carrot.
Pie. It is more pie than cake.
Cake. 2 words.
But I've
All
never
the
heard it
if
called
you're
a
a cake,
pie.
if it's a cake, isn't the cake the second word in the title of it?
You're making great points. I'm not arguing against you. I've never thought of it that way.
I don't mean to get you guys at the top of the show with my
it
best
resembles
stuff.
a pie more than it does.
It's a straight up pie
Okay, it's a pie.
in like sheep's clothing.
Okay, well, we had turd cheesecake.
All right.
Pie for
First
Sunday.
question of the night: is cheesecake pie? Love to hear what you guys have to think about that. Um, Listen, I watched every second of the game. I know a lot of people did. I know people got into it, had to leave, come back, still watched it all. First of all, it was a long ass game. I found myself because I'm watching the other 4 o'clock games and they're kicked off and they're going and I'm like, how is this game still going on? We had like 5 minutes to go in a long 5 minutes, an eventful, crazy 5 minutes to go, where we were way past the witching hour. It reminded me, and if Kevin were here, he'd be able to tell us to the second how long the game was. The Cincinnati-London game was, at the time, the longest game in NFL history, and it was only surpassed recently, if I'm not mistaken, an overtime game before they changed, because overtime went from 15 to 12, right? So back when overtime was still 15 minutes, and you had two terrible teams playing who wants to lose most game like we did with the Bengals. That's a long ass game. So this game was long, first of all. Second of all, it was, if you kind of knew which way the wind was blowing, early on, but the wind was blowing the wrong way. Everything that happens to a team that loses a football game, that it happened to us. Not just the turnovers, but the turnovers that were taken back to the house, or that set up easy possessions for their offense. Obviously, timely penalties, but the way that the game went, I thought was kind of like this microcosm of the way our season's gone, and the way our season went last year, which was to say, super shitty out of the gate. Like, just crazy.
Ding, ding.
Can't. You step out of one pile of horse manure and you go right into the next pile of it. And all of a sudden, things start clicking a little bit. It's not necessarily pretty, but it's not as bad. And then all of a sudden, you find yourself with a chance. And
so you're saying there was a chance?
I hate losing to Dallas. If we were 0-12, I would hate losing to Dallas more than anything else. So that's step one.
Kind of like what Navy did to Army this past.
Well, I'm a Navy guy,
right? Yeah,
or Navy beat Army.
It was a super. Let's just say it again. It was a humbling experience. I'll recap it for them, but shorter than the way I did for you. I started out the game like everybody else, same time, at the regular time. Watched the first quarter. We were already down 18-0, and you're thinking this is going to be a long day. Oh, yeah. I had to take a break, not because of the game. I had to take my daughter to her basketball game, right? A 3:00 game.
Got to do that,
right? Hey, daddy duty calls, right? So I had to take my daughter to the game, put it on pause, went to the game. I've done this a bunch. People are pretty sensitive to everybody else who may be.
No spoiler alerts.
Can't talk about it unless you know for sure it's okay to talk about it. Got through almost the entire game. Nobody said a word, right? Especially in COVID times, you got to be separated. You got masks on, all that stuff. I don't look at my phone. I'm not trying to check it out. And I said to myself, I'm going to go home. I'm going to go home and I'm going to start right back where I was and watch it as if I had started watching it regular. And I think there was like maybe 1 minute left in my daughter's game, and one of the dads, who I think was outside, either watching it on his phone or whatever, comes in and he notices our game, the basketball game, was not going all that well. I said, yeah, it's been a rough one. He goes, not as bad as the Redskins. And I'm like, oh, dude, come on, man.
You did it.
Come on, where's your man card? I mean, you don't spoil it for people, right? So I'm thinking, great. Now I'm going to go home and watch a horrible, horrible game and probably watch the Skins get just demolished, right? And it'll be miserable. Well, I kind of fast forward a little bit faster than maybe I normally would have, caught some of the key plays. Mm-hmm. By the time Holcomb took the pick six back, I'm like, what the hell was that guy talking about? It was around 4 o'clock.
Oh, no. It was well after 4 o'clock.
Came around, so it was probably before all that happened, but seconds, minutes before all that happened, because that game changed in a heartbeat.
That had 420 written all over it, by the way, that moment.
This sucks to, holy crap, we're going to win this game. Oh, my God. I mean, at one point, there was that feeling. So for me, it was not only just a long game, it was a long day on top of seeing how it almost panned out.
we've played in a lot of games. You played in a lot of more football games than me, but we've played in a lot of athletic contests where, despite what may happen at the end, there was a chance to win for sure, but I felt
Lost by 6.
7, right? 27-20? We missed that extra point.
27-20. You're right.
The missed extra point was just the cherry on top for
a touchdown. No,
because the spread was 6.5.
Let's not.
The spread was 6.5, and all these Dallas fans are out there injury hedging their bets. So the world is betting on betting on Washington to cover 6.5, which I thought was an excellent bet. I don't bet on the Redskins, so I didn't touch it. But Redskins to cover and hit the under has been probably the best bet over the last 2 years with this team.
That's a rough
And
bet.
so all these Dallas fans were rooting for the Cowboys, but they bet on Washington to cover, and then they didn't get it because of that. So that kind of made me happy. And I know a lot of Cowboys fans who bet on Washington football team to cover, and they didn't. I was super ecstatic about that.
Yeah, I don't want to talk to any negativity about our potential guest that I'm working on.
Oh no! I mean,
we're trying to get Brian Johnson.
It's a feeling that the game. I mean, what happened in that game was always going to happen. I feel like there's something, a reckoning of some sort for this. 4 in a row, riding high. I don't think we were like too heavy in our britches about being 4 in a row. I feel like
we felt great about the way we were playing, and it became very evident in this game. If we cannot play that style of game, that ball control style of football, and we cannot play behind, obviously that's not working in our favor.
8.5 Stefan on the line, by the way, and I wish I can't pull up who that is. My first instinct is that it's Rico, though I don't think that it is. 3 turnovers for 18 points, game-ending fumbles, points off turnovers. Lost more than one game for us this year. Peace and love to my brother Tim. Stefan.
What's up, brother?
Again, the things that you can't overcome. Joe Gibbs taught us that you could win that way, but I learned a lesson. I feel like when Schottenheimer was our coach, we were 3-5, and then we finished 5-3. I always think back to that season in times like this because I always think about like what the league is, what the game is. If you make these mistakes, this bucket of mistakes, especially to the tune of that, like you were going to lose like 99% of the time. So yes, we had a chance to win at the end, and I was in that moment, excited. We got the ball back, but at no point did I ever feel like we were, you can't overcome stuff like that. And I know it happens miraculously every once in a while, but
the way our games have turned out, you did not think that there was a chance that we were going to win the game. And Greg, I do absolutely believe in you. That was not a fumble. That was a ridiculous call. It was a ridiculous replay that wasn't changed. I don't understand.
Sometimes games
the ball went forward. I mean,
won and lost. Games are won and lost throughout the 4 quarters of play. Yeah, of course we had a chance. We absolutely had a chance. But again, if you just check boxes, it's not just the turnovers. It's not just the points off turnovers. It's not just the fumbles. Let's take a timeout and talk about Antonio Gibson for a second because that's where we are right now. So I want to take it from 2 different angles. One is let's talk about like micro face against the field level. He was benched. I mean, he made a mistake that to me was the sealer. I mean, it was to everyone. It was the sealer. But that to me, what he's been doing, that knocks him. I mean, we need an RB1.
What are you talking about?
We need an RB1, and doing things like that, which it's not his first time.
What's that?
Turning the ball over in the worst possible situation in the worst possible moment.
Okay.
Like multiple times. And again, it happens. And he's not Matt Jones with tiny hands. He's not Tiki Barber with, fumbleitis. But at some point, and I've been banging this drum. I should say I've been like tapping this drum. I'm not banging any drums. I love him. He's one of the top 6, top 7 rushers in the league.
Number 1 going in Sunday.
Well, he's behind Jonathan Taylor. I think it was number 5, but he fell a little bit obviously after this week.
Of course. the offense goes through him. I'm not blaming him for that. You're going to fumble
I'm
every
not
once in a while. He does
blaming
not
him
have
for it.
fumbleitis.
He
may fumble
He
it.
did get benched,
Really,
so
really
he technically
bad
was
times.
blamed in the moment.
Okay.
He was benched. I mean, they benched him. I mean, wasn't the first time.
I thought it was the time to take him out of the game. I mean, it was.
It wasn't like we were bringing in McKissick.
No, but at that point in time, I thought he was.
We're
also
not.
banged
There's no
up.
one on our team that's
He was
replacing
also
him.
banged up. I don't think they were. That wasn't when it would turned.
He's absolutely not been 100% healthy since first month of the season. No running back is in the NFL. So it's not an easy conversation, and I don't see me as arguing to chase him out of town, because then what I want to do is to take a step back and say, okay,
he's done way more good than those.
He's done
two
way
fumbles
more
that,
good.
That some people are going to maybe.
I'm not putting it on any. I'm not saying that play changes my mind about anything. I have been saying this over the course of the last 3 or 4 shows, as you know, just not questioning his ability to play the game of football, just saying, is he an RB1? I think that's probably my question. Is he an RB1? And I'm asking the question. I'm not.
He is an RB1 who's just still learning the position. I mean,
that's a perfect answer.
He's an RB1 that is green as a running back. He's a former wide receiver, for crying out loud.
He's not really even a former anything. He's a former athlete, right? We talked to Ryan Silverfield.
Yep.
He played 30. He got 35 touches his senior year at Memphis. He did line up as a wide receiver, but he was an ATH. Get him the ball however you can.
Yeah.
And
he's becoming
Ryan
a running
said
back. He's becoming a running
on
back.
our
He's
show,
going to make these mistakes. He's going to make mistakes in the pass protection.
Said he's a running back in the NFL. That's what he told us. He's like, he is a running back in the NFL.
Absolutely.
So there's no question he's playing the wrong position.
There was bad pass protection that he had on one of Heineke's final
when he got drilled
sacks.
by.
It wasn't the one that I think hurt his knee. But it was a huge sack. It was a huge sack that he completely missed it.
For a touchdown?
I can't remember if that was the exact one.
I think that was
in the second half.
But so, anyways, these are things that people can get better at. I mean, he's going to get better at these kinds of things, because take the second part of that question is take a step back.
Look how he's taking the load.
We have 2 more years of Antonio Gibson at $1 million a season. It's like that to me. That's invaluable. There's no greater value than you can have of a top 6, top 7 rusher in the league, and you only got to pay him another $2.5 million over 2 years. He ain't going anywhere. I get this question sometimes, and that's why I put it out like this. I am a Gibson guy. I'm not wasting free agent dollars to bring in a veteran running back to take his spot. If anything, I would take a flyer on a guy in the draft to come in and contribute, because you need running backs. You can't just have if McKissick is healthy and Patterson is healthy, my guess is, you're still going to have 3 or 4 guys. So anyways, Antonio Gibson, still a valuable asset and still a guy who we're going to need. By the way, if and when, and I believe we will, make it to the playoffs, got to have Antonio Gibson. I mean, our team on offense is very much Gibson reliant. And so the whole conversation really, to get back to that point.
Yeah, which is why, and it's being talked about on the board right now. Look, when the Washington football team cannot employ the game plan that they employed in that 4-game stretch, they're in trouble. They got to play from in front. They have to rely on the run.
Or at least even.
They have to go through Gibson. He is the way that this offense goes. And that also allows
you can't
Heineke
get running backs anywhere, Greg. You can't get him anywhere.
That allows Heineke to make these 8 to 10, 8 to 12-yard throws, continuing to get first down. Once you get behind like they did against Dallas, all that goes out the window. You can't run Antonio every single down, because you're not going to make it up, and you can't rely on Taylor Heineke when the defense knows they're going to throw the ball, because what they do is they bring pressure they back everybody off. They make the one-on-ones aren't there anymore. He can't make the decision and throw it. He's got to find the right read. If you don't give it time, and then the game wears on, the line can't hold up. It's a recipe for disaster. So this team is built specifically to be successful, and only the way that they were successful in November. And if they can't do that, it's tough sledding.
Our offensive line is beyond dinged up at this point in time, by the way. So that's a problem. The running back conversation on the board, though, it's not the easiest position to fill. I don't think it's the easiest position to fill. I mean, you can hire guys to run the ball, but to find somebody who gets into your system and understands it and gets it. I didn't know that McKissick was going to get it the way he got it. He hasn't gotten it this way, elsewhere. So that's a huge home run swing, for us. And if he's healthy enough to play going forward, he's a guy you got to bring back. Him and Gibson are a fine backfield. Patterson gives you something off the bench, but it's that does allow you to dedicate rebuilding resources in other spots. The transition by manner speaking to quarterback, without breaking down Taylor Heineke's game, the guy was murdered. On Sunday, he was beat up, good, by Micah Parsons. I still think that
guy's ridiculous.
I still think that you go to him today, maybe you can get a better deal, but I still think you guarantee him like 3 years at $10 or $11 million a year minimum, because that level of quarterback pay gets you way less than what Taylor Heineke is. If he's willing to take that, you take it and run. And
if he's willing to take that,
and you tell him to his face, as I said before, you tell him to his face, we gave you an opportunity, you took advantage of it. You want respect? Here's $30 million guaranteed dollars, but we're still going to draft a guy. We're still going to bring in other people to fill out this room, and you might not be playing. You have the chance to be our starter, but if it doesn't work out, you're still getting your money because you've earned it. But you're not. You're going to have to earn it going forward. And I don't think that's a terrible message for a guy like Heineke, because that doesn't solve our quarterback problem. And he is a nice story,
he is not
speaking.
The solution to our quarterback problem.
But he's part of the solution.
Period.
No, I think he's part. To me, I think you're looking
I hope
about
he's on the team.
Part of the solution.
I hope he is in a backup role, but he is not the
All right,
solution.
so then we're talking about Taylor Heineke then. So if you had to make the decision right now, you prefer that he play next season on that $2 million contract and earn his next contract.
Yeah.
Is that true? Okay. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yeah, no,
okay.
That sounds right to me.
I don't think there's any
way.
way.
Do I think your idea is completely ridiculous? No, not at all. You want to secure a guy for a cheap amount of money. I just don't think that he's and his agent are saying we need to jump on that.
There's
Unless
no way
they
he plays,
just want to be loyal.
No way he plays for $2 million next year. No way. No way anyone in the league, the Players Association, DeMaurice Smith and George Atala, who, by the way, sounds just like Kaiser Sensei.
Okay.
They will call him immediately and be like,
my point is,
don't show up to work.
My point is,
and he won't.
He is not going to just sign a contract because the Redskins put it in front of him. There's an agent who does the business side of it and says, you know what, they may give you 30 for the next 3, but we could get X for the next 4 or 5 somewhere else. They would want to. I would think that they would want to test waters.
But you could play hardball here in a sense, because you can go to them and you can say, "Here's the deal. We got you for another year. You want to be a holdout guy? Fine. If you don't want to take our money, we're going to throw you out there. And for $2 million, we're literally going to feed you to the wolves. And good luck surviving. Because for $2 million, it's worth it to us to let you just get beat the crap out of by Micah Parsons twice a year and whoever else." And if I'm his agent, I'm like, okay. My guy went to ODU, was a stud at ODU, went undrafted. He's this awesome story. Probably is going to do just fine in life.
He's a great story. Don't get me wrong.
Can secure his
family's
future.
Don't take what I say to mean that I don't like him.
Oh, no, I'm not. I'm just saying I don't think it's realistic that he shows up in a pads and helmet next year for $2 million. Like business-wise. Like that just... It's something. Whatever. I think there was an $8 to $10 million. You're gonna have to rip his deal up unless he gets Alex Smith injured this season, before the end of the season. He's coming back as our starter. Like we're not. And I mean, okay. So I say that, which opens multiple cans of worms.
I don't know what the market will be.
Well, do you think we're going Aaron Rodgers? Do you think we're going to chase Russell Wilson? Do you think we're going to, you know what I mean? So all that.
We better be in the goddamn conversation for those two guys and guys like it. There's no doubt about it.
It's going to be that. All right, so I'm going to open up my mind to the possibility of bringing in one of those guys, but not Russell Wilson. I would do Aaron Rodgers on our roster.
What Russell Wilson do to you?
There's something.
What, beat you too many times? I don't know.
Yeah, no, and now we're getting
So
the
why
better of
would
them. If you can't beat the Washington football team, then I don't want you as my quarterback. You're done.
Dude,
You're
he's a
dead to me.
stud. He's a stud.
You
He's
can't
proven
beat
he's a
that team.
stud. And you know, if he's on the market looking for a team that's going to potentially give him the best opportunity to go to the playoffs and win a Super Bowl.
Russell Wilson will not be the quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks next season.
No, I know. But I also don't. I also think he's pretty much made it known this is not a destination place for him either.
Yeah, we have to create the place where the guy, like last year, everyone thought we were gonna get Matt Stafford, or we made the offer, but he didn't want to come here. We have to create the place where people want to come. So to your point, if or to the greater discussion of the Aaron Rodgerses and Russell Wilsons of the free
I
agent
think they're
world,
looking at.
they have to want to be here.
If they are not looking at it this way, they should be looking at it as Washington is a place that has many pieces in place.
Many pieces.
Many pieces. Not all the pieces, but many pieces in place
Yep.
to help me get where I want to go. And with the addition of me and one or two other pieces, now we're talking.
I'm with Jimmy G on the board. I do think it's going to come through the draft. I don't think that we're going to.
There's not a great player in the draft right now. I love Pickett.
No, but
I think Pickett's got a great game that transitions to.
He'll be fine.
To this
there's
level.
a couple other guys who'll be fine.
But there's no absolute stud right now. I don't think.
But one of these guys will turn into something, and either we get him or we don't. Who knows? My point about the great quarterback, as capital G, capital Q, as Jim McGee calls him. I do the greatest value, the most valuable professional athlete in all of professional sports is a franchise quarterback on a rookie contract. Bam, period, end of statement. That's how you do it. And if you on one hand, you could go to a guy like Aaron Rodgers and you can be like, here's what we have now: Terry McLaurin, Brandon Sheriff, Gibson, Samuel, blah blah blah, awesome defense, and Mr. Rodgers. We'll draft an offensive lineman in the first round, a tight end in the second round, and whatever
else you need in free
in other rounds. And so, I mean, because that's how it goes. And if you don't think that's how it goes, you're kidding yourself. So you have that's a selling point to a guy like Aaron Rodgers. But I think that to me, I'm loving this rebuild. So I'm loving every second of it. I know we were 7-9 last year. We won the East. I think we're going to get minimum of 8 wins this year, and so that represents a win improvement and potentially make the playoffs for the second straight year, which hasn't been done, in 30 years. This organization, so, people
90, 91, 92,
Yes.
last time that we went back to back in anything.
I want to transition to an argument that I've been having. People are like, "Oh yeah, you're backing into the playoffs for 2 straight years." First of all, no. First of all, we earned the NFC East last season on the strength of an awesome finish. At 7-9, I'm not calling us a great team. I'm not calling us arrived. I'm not calling the rebuild over. I'm not saying we did anything great. All I'm saying is we were good enough to win the NFC East and host a playoff game. Made it to the playoffs. And whereas some people were thinking that damaged our draft position and we could have drafted higher, all our young players that we did have after Rivera got rid of Haskins, after Rivera started, writing this culture, they experienced some goodness, some positivity. I think that's way more valuable than being able to draft a couple steps higher. Could we have gotten Micah Parsons? Maybe. At the end of the day, I'd rather have a young core of players who get just that taste of making it. And if he can do it 2 years in a row, if Ron Rivera can do 2 years in a row, something that no one has done in 30 years since Joe Jackson Gibbs in the early 90, 91, 92, or for whatever 15 straight years, however many times they made the playoffs. If he can do that while fielding one of the youngest teams in the league, we started the season average age 25 on defense, average age 26 on offense. Bostic and Fitzpatrick are sure to be gone, plus other guys. This team trends young and fast. If they are part of a culture that's starting to make the playoffs 2 years in a row, starting to understand what it does take to get there, and they add a couple pieces in specifically in the draft, you can go free agency style for some positions that you might not be able to address in the draft that are the 4 and 5 year $100 million deals at places like guard or tackle, or tight end, or linebacker for that matter. So I'm loving the idea that we could be improving, staying young, staying fast, qualifying for the playoffs, and instilling that kind of aroma of postseason qualification in a group of young guys. What else do you want?
No, I mean, if you're looking macro right now, yes, I think the Washington football team is in a position to make a move and to really improve over the course of the next 3 to 4 years, and have a shot. If they can do it right, if the pieces fall into place, if they can convince guys, that this is a destination where they can come and win and get that prize that they've always been searching for, like an Aaron Rodgers, a Russell Wilson, somebody of that caliber, to be able to come in here and take the ship. Yes, they're in a position to do that. A lot of things have to work out. A lot of pieces have to fall in place. You might even have to get a little bit lucky in some respects, maybe through the draft or whatever it might be. But they're in a really good position to possibly make that run.
T, it's fun. The way that you said that made me think of Green Bay in the early 90s or late 80s. I mean, Green Bay didn't draft Brett Favre. They traded for him. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until they had him and they put a couple guys around him that made Reggie White leave Philadelphia to come to Green Bay. Right. Like we're not a Reggie White free agent acquisition away from being great. We don't have our Brett Favre, at the moment. But I do think that's where we're trending. I don't know where this patience is
being built the right way. Ron Rivera is building it the right way.
I'm so patient. I do. I think because you're seeing results. And more than anything else, when you talk about not being one, we're not one player away. We know we have multiple holes to fill. We know we have to fill multiple places in the draft and free agency, and then our next free agent isn't going to be potentially the guy who takes us over the edge, but he might be the reason why the next guy comes. Like that's a fun thing, because for 20 years under Dan Snyder, we've been drilled by the marketing team that they were just constantly reloading, that this year's free agent class was going to get it done, that this year's iteration with this new coach and this new system and this new punt returner and this new left guard, this is all we need. It's like the scene from The Jerk when he's like, and this thermos, and that's all I need, and this ping pong paddle. It's like all of a sudden, it's like we only need this one extra thing. Yeah. Like but the way we're doing it now it's sustainable. We might not be one player away now, but we're the closest we've ever been to being one player away.
It's cultivated. There's reasoning behind it. It's not grasping at air. It's not trying to another man's garbage is trash is somebody else's treasure. That's how we operated for so long. Yeah. Things are being done the right way right now, and again, we still got a ways to go, but it's only a few pieces as opposed to a complete and utter rebuild. I mean, I know I don't want to get back to the semantics of that, but
I think we're closer. The closest
we are closer.
But you're seeing the whole process.
But there's light. You see how this has been put together. And again, he does it with patience. You're right. He hasn't panicked. He has never. I've said it a bunch of times. I questioned him once last year, and he proved me totally wrong. I won't do it again. This man knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing, and it is. You can stand back and you can see, like,
it's not a perfect science. He still needs things to kind of bounce his way and go his way. But
I know not everyone on the board are video game fans. I know you're not like the biggest. I'm a video game guy. I love playing games that you like invest time in. You play for a while and you save it and come back. Maybe you die and you respawn somewhere else, and it takes you days or weeks or months. To me, like, that's the experience of being a Redskins fan now versus what it was for 20 years previous, where it's like everything that's happening is building to something. Like there's nothing. There's very little.
I finished Mike Tyson Punch-Out.
You did.
I finished Zelda.
Soda Popinski.
You got
Soda Popinski.
I conquered
Glass
Super Mario Brothers.
All right, so you're all right. So yeah,
I know where you're going.
You know exactly what I'm talking
I know
about.
what you're putting down. I know.
I'm loving this. I'm like Joel Embiid style, loving the process.
There you go.
And so what do I get for that? I get people saying, well, you're just embracing mediocrity. You're just being happy to be here, and I couldn't disagree more. Because where we are right now versus the fake places we've been over the last 20 years with the Dan Snyder regime, it's like when you can put your foot down and it's like hitting something. It's like there's an actual support level, and every time you're not because the elevator went through the ground floor 10 floors down, and the rock bottom was never
paper
achieved.
tigers anymore.
No, we're not paper tigers anymore. So I love what's happening. I love the process, and I also think that it's fair. Here's where we are, right? 2 years into Ron Rivera, and you could fairly say that the free agency, crop coming into this year isn't. They're not going to make any 30 for 30s about it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, but it's also the season's not over. So all the Curtis Samuel haters out there, not over yet. But again, you could point some fingers and say they could do better. So like it's not just the improvement they made, but it's the room for improvement that's still there. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give these guys a benefit of the doubt for another season or two. The board is directing us towards the holding off on the playoff conversation until after this weekend, which is what I put out in our article tonight for Hogs Haven. Well, because I've said, and I'm getting...
We're going to jinx them?
No, because I've been very clear, and folks have been, talking about the playoff prospects. I never put our playoff prospects on our games against Dallas. I've continuously said this season will come down to how we play against the Philadelphia Eagles. Period, flat out, straight up, 2-game season. We do well against the Eagles, we make the playoffs. I'm not rooting for 8 and 9. Don't let people believe that that's what I'm rooting for. Not rooting for 8 and 9. But my belief is that an 8-win team from the NFC will qualify for the playoffs, and they will do so on the strength of their NFC record. There'll be a tiebreaker at the end. So if we win 2 more games this season, we will be 8 and 9, but we'll have 7 NFC wins. I think that's going to be enough to make the playoffs. That's not what I want. That's not what I'm rooting for. I want 3 wins, ideally 2 against the Eagles and 1 against the Giants, with an extra, Christmas present against the Cowboys, whatever.
Yeah.
But 8 and 9, I do believe makes the playoffs.
I believe you might be right.
But that's not what I'm rooting for.
My abacus says go 3-1 and almost guarantee yourself a spot in the playoffs.
Run the table.
That's just my abacus.
That's what we do.
Your abacus is a lot more complicated than mine.
I do think 3 wins locks it. Because for the Skins, 3 wins means an additional NFC win.
Right.
All of our games left are NFC games. That's not the case. Every division isn't beating itself up for 5 weeks. We're like the only one, I believe, that's doing this way.
No, I love it. I don't know why.
I think everyone should. It's it's insane. But they're all NFC division games. So they're, for tiebreaker purposes, they're like times 10 in importance. So you get 2 of those. 2 of those makes us 3-3 in the NFC East. I believe the 7 NFC wins. I hate to say it. It's not the way I want to get into the playoffs, but that would work. But that means to me, first of all, you got to beat the Eagles head to head, at least 1-1, at least 1-1, if not sweep them. And to me, this is the game that you have to win. You got to win this game. And I know it's on the. I believe it's on the road. Are we on the road this weekend? I believe we're on the road this weekend.
I don't even know.
All I know is we played Dallas and Philadelphia for a month. A month of Dallas and Philadelphia. What do we got?
I don't know. They're going to tell us.
They're going to tell us. I think this is a must-win game on the road or at home. But the reason why is because I think that you got to hit the Eagles hard right away. You got to go up. Tom Marangolo, Greg Martin. Manner of speaking, you guys are talking about this. You got to have a lead in this game. Cannot get behind. Because what we haven't talked about yet is who the F is going to play for us on Sunday.
Well, yeah, that got a little weird today, didn't it?
We're going to talk about this game on Sunday now.
Holy crap. I mean, we didn't have a lot of guys this past week.
Is there going to be another replacement? Is Keanu Reeves available? There's going to be a replacements movie made about this week's game?
He can play.
Who was that wide receiver / quarterback? Anyone who could come up with those names, I'm going to come up with
in the movie or in
real life. The receiver had Redskins receiving records for
I'm not going to remember
20 years.
Yeah.
Anthony something or other.
We're the kings of the weird seasons. You know that. We've already established that on this show.
If there's a weird season, we're going to the Super Bowl.
Winning it. Yeah, and our kicker's going to get, like, MVP.
Yeah. So I don't know if Hurts is playing. No one ever does. It was a high ankle sprain, which is the worst. I mean, it's the most disrespectful way to say that you fractured your ankle, like a high ankle sprain. I mean, essentially that means there's a fracture in there. I hate calling it a sprain. It's like turf toe. It's a serious thing, but it's called turf toe.
I know you say the Eagles are dangerous for some reason.
Yeah, they are.
I have no idea why you think that. I think what's dangerous is that the Washington football team doesn't play up to the ability they could play.
Okay.
The Eagles are not coming in here and beating us. Or
not.
We're not going there to get beaten by them. The Washington football team's going to beat themselves if they lose this game. There's no doubt about it.
So
this is their game to lose.
We're so lucky because E.O. Anderson's going to be so happy that we're breast 15ing it tonight. I think that the Philadelphia Eagles are way more dangerous. It's the matchup. It's the problem that Dallas has with us for 60 minutes. I think that's the problem we have with the Eagles for 60 minutes. The stupid shit that we can't escape against them because of the way we match up with them. We're just not there yet. It's not them, it's us. Well, it's not us, it's them. I'm not quite sure how that works, but to me, that's the issue for us. I don't mean to do this. I don't know what
like if you were the Eagles and I was the Washington football team, it's not you, it's me.
Yeah, exactly. It's something weird. Like I'm.
It felt weird.
I'm concerned about this game in that regard.
Weird, so,
well, you're a weird guy, Ace. You're a weird guy, Ace.
I'm not worried about the Eagles. I'm not worried about the Eagles so much as
if you're not, then we're going to the playoffs because that's the team that we have in front of us.
I think against the Eagles, you certainly can run the style of football that you ran during the month of November. The defense did this past weekend what it needed to do to win the football game once again, and I think that the defense is going to be there every single week.
But the ones that don't have COVID,
the ability. That was the wrinkle today.
Yes,
but
who's stopping the run? Yeah, our defense is great.
Can you get out in front?
Run.
Can you hold the lead? Can you play 10-yard offense? Can you play time of possession? If you get behind, you should start getting a little worried.
Can someone please assure me that we're putting like Deron Payne in like Secret Service protection for the rest of the week?
A bubble.
He should be like the bubble boy for the next 4 days. He shouldn't be allowed to see anyone.
Yeah, that news today, that was hard to swallow.
Can I also just have an unpopular take? I'm not venturing our show into the terribleness of the vaccine conversations and anti this and pro that. But at the beginning of the season, the NFL made it very clear. Here's how we're gonna operate based on COVID. You can agree with it or you can disagree with it, but they said how they were going to do it. These guys make millions and millions and millions of dollars a year to play this game. I struggle with understanding how you have a coach who was struggling through chemo during the time of COVID, and you have the players who lead, like McLaurin and Allen and these guys, saying, "Hey, this is what we got to do," And we were low percentage, now we're high percentage of vaccinated. But the Montez Sweat thing irks me because, very simply, this. Roll the tape from August, and you'll hear me say these exact words. We're going to get to a game in December that matters, and you're not going to be able to play because you were around someone who had COVID. Period. Like because if you're not vaccinated, you have to sit X amount of days, no matter what. If you are vaccinated, you just have to show a negative test for a couple of days. That's why the Rams will probably be okay. Hopefully, we'll be okay with a guy like John Allen. But for God's sake, like, if you don't want to do it for Rivera, if you don't want to do it for what all these other reasons that people do it, how about like if you're this is your profession, like you making it in December is what matters. And my whole point was always like we're gonna be in a game. I think this team. I was like, I think this. Maybe I was wrong when I said it because we ended up 2-6. But I was like, I think this team's good enough to where we're gonna need games in December to make the playoffs, and I want to make the playoffs. I want to make the playoffs. And all of a sudden, he can't play because of that decision. Now, again, it's his decision. It's his right to make it. I respect that, and I leave the space for that. But man, that was a tough decision that he made, and it cost us because if Montez Sweat plays in that game, we win. I'll say it right now. If Montez Sweat plays in the Dallas Cowboys game last Sunday, we win the game. Not even close. That is a fact. A fact.
Okay. I don't know about that, but
Okay.
that's a bold statement. I don't know. I mean, you could talk about this till you're blue in the face, but other people could say, "Hey, it's like an injury." I mean, could happen at any time. Could happen at any time in the season. You know, even the vaccinated players are testing positive for COVID, and yes, they have a quicker way to get back. You know, a quicker road to get back if it all works out, but it might not. So
I know it's weird.
Yeah, it is what it is. That's the world we live in right now.
You know what? I just never thought he'd give like guys who don't give reasons. I actually have like there's a little bit more mystique around. You're like, all right, he must have had some reasons. He just didn't tell us. But Montez told us his reasons. He was like, oh, they didn't give us enough information. And Rivera was like, oh, we had like 10 seminars like in the last 48 hours. Everyone I know came and explained it to these guys. So it's just that kind of stuff.
I don't want to bitch about it.
I do. I want to bitch about it because...
I don't. You guys want to bitch about it?
No. You don't have to bitch about it. I'm not going to spend more time than this about it. It irks me, and because a Cowboys game was impacted. That's all I care about. Oh, Ursula Francis. I don't know what you're typing. You're typing something important, I'm sure. You sat on your keyboard.
Looks like Virginia Tech. I don't know.
It does look like Virginia Tech. It looks like we got a Brian Johnson fan on the board. I want to say that's what that is. All right, so I would like to have some score predictions for the Philadelphia-Washington football team game. We're going to get to that. We're going to solicit them from the board. You and I are going to finish the show with those things. Last thing, kind of like the last overall topic, I think, would be putting aside the health, putting aside the mistakes, putting aside the the bad taste of losing to a team you hate. You know, was there enough that happened in the 17th hour of that game that made you feel like I'm back in this mentality where I think we might just be good enough to make some noise in January?
Holcomb's interception.
Yeah.
Holcomb's been playing his ass off. Dude, I don't know if it's Ron Rivera, Del Rico. Maybe he's just kind of finding. Maybe it's just kind of switched for him. I don't know, but he's playing his ass off. He's playing good football. For him to make that play, that's when I went, God damn, here we go again. They're gonna figure out a way to win this goddamn game. This is unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
I haven't had that feeling watching this team for a long time.
So, I'll tell you, I've had moments when I've had that feeling, and it's funny because it's happening against Dallas. So I'm sitting in the stands. Mike Vanderjagt is getting ready to kick a field goal for Bill Parcells, and a former Eagle safety, whose name we're not going to say because we're playing the Eagles this week, but he worked for the Players Association, not a bad guy, blocks the kick. Recovered by Sean Taylor. Runs down the field, gets face masked, and University of Maryland Terrapin Nick Novak comes on and kicks a game-winning field goal. That was
awesome.
That was the kind of moment that the Cole Holcomb interception was.
Yeah.
Because it was a game-changing play against our arch rival late in the game, where the outcome became in question. It wasn't in question until then. It was in question then. And that we agree on that. Even though the feeling of the game initially, but outcome was in question.
Horrible.
Outcome
it was horrible
was
right
in
up
question.
until that moment.
And I would love to know if anyone else has any moments that felt like that. Like that was the one that occurred when because that was a game-winning field goal. The game was over. Vanderjack was going to end it. Parcells played it out, and it was over. Sean Taylor takes it back. Face mask, no time on the clock. Last play of the game belongs to us. We kick the field goal and win. So, I think the aftertaste, of that game is such that I am in a much better place. Like if we had lost 45-10 or whatever, if it just trended all the way from that first quarter, the 18-0 awfulness, I think this show would feel different. The city would feel different. The conversation would feel different. The playoff talk would feel different. When you see the playoff picture on ESPN and we're number 7 and still in the playoffs, that would feel different. But after the way the game ended, I'm like, wait a second.
We only lost by touchdown.
Only lost by touchdown. We were sticking it to them in the end with guys who, off the street. Jonathan Williams, the running back. Kyle Allen, at quarterback. Terry McLaurin was out. Obviously Gibson was benched. We were doing it with the most ridiculous cast of characters.
There's really only one game this year that was really out of hand at the end of the game. As poorly as poorly as this team has played in losses, they still had a chance to win these games.
Yep.
Which is a silver lining that has to be talked about and does have to give you, in this particular type of season, the feeling that this isn't done. We're going to be riding this wave till the end.
The Heineke pylon run against Tampa Bay in the playoffs, that was a good feeling. That was
a great feeling.
He
did it again this past week.
That's all he does. I feel like if he was
running,
running,
he plays his ass off. He plays with guts.
He's running free.
He just,
nobody chasing him.
He brings a knife to a gunfight. I mean, it just, he doesn't really have the weapons to always get it done in every situation. But goddamn, the kid plays his ass off. You can't deny that. You love the story. You love what he's doing. You love it when he does that stuff because it also makes the rest of the team go, well, shit, if that kid's doing that, I got to step up my game. So, I mean, there is something to that. And that's why they have themselves either just barely losing these games. Let's not forget, they're just barely winning games. I mean, it's not like they're blowing anybody out. So
no, but the manner in which they're winning is also indicative of Ron Rivera and the way he like the Tampa Bay win, for example. It was close, yes, but for football, if you follow football, if you love football, if you actually pay attention, the way we won that game it was a no-doubter win. Like a 10-minute fourth quarter drive. I mean, that's how good teams win games. We were a good team that week, but I'm just saying, like, I agree with you. At 2 17-15s in a row, that's weird. But again, also indicative of the style of play that made us good at the end of last season that we hoped would show its face earlier in the season, but we did it against some of the best in the business over the first 10 weeks. And I think we learned from those things, and I think that's what's coming into play. I want to start the drum. I want to start beating. I want to do this. Tyler Linderbaum. So what
is your thing with this?
He's a center. So you know how I feel about centers. Not every draft has a really good center.
I don't know if I want to know how you feel about centers.
Kevin doesn't want to know how I feel about centers. Ricky doesn't. Strength at the middle of a football team is like my number one. So safety, middle linebacker, DT, center, quarterback, running back, right? Bam. I don't think we're not like overly weak if Rouillet is like 100% healthy, but we haven't meaningfully addressed center position for a long time. I feel like we almost did with Ryan Kelly. If the Colts wouldn't have drafted him, I have it on good authority that we would have. That would have been awesome to me. I think Tyler Linderbaum in the first round and around the place where we're going to draft. He's a center from Iowa. He's a stud, all-American, strong, smart leader of your offensive line. That's where
You're kicking off our drafts. Our draft.
Yes, I'm not gonna spend a ton of time on it. But I don't want to be late to the conversation. I want to be with the first. I want to be one of the first guys. There's probably other guys out there who already. That's my.
We haven't even finished painting the room, much less let it dry. What the hell are you doing?
I'm not going quarterback in the first round. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. Give me investment in the offensive line in mid to late first round, which is where we'll be. Best center in the draft. One of the best centers to come out of college in a while. We'll see how he does through the offseason combines and blah blah blah. But I do want to start saying his name. So that's okay. I did it. I did it. It happened. It happened.
So did they.
I want to have the chance to be ahead of certain things. No one gives a F about centers for the most part or draft at this point in time. But that's our show.
Well, let me ask you that: is Tyler ready for this weekend? Because we could use him.
No, he's still in college.
Oh shit, that's right.
He's
still a problem.
He's still Urban Meyer bar humping chicks for the most part, like Kevin Ricka does the schedule situation as we said last week.
With fun.
Yes. Don't worry. His hands are firmly in front of the bar stool. It's all good. He's going to be okay.
At least we're not Jacksonville. We could say that every week.
And
we could say that every week.
People are like, oh, you have to suck to make sure you get that Trevor Lawrence guy. And I'm like, first of all, I don't want to ever suck. I just don't want to be the worst team. I just don't want to always be the worst team, and we have been. And secondly,
well, Tomlin did it to us when he told Chase, "I don't want to ever be as bad.
I don't want to be someone like you. Yeah, I don't want to be in a position to get guys like you.
I'll just get you after your rookie contract." That's what he does.
He's no dummy. He's been around for a while. I don't want to put too fine a point on it, but I do think this is a must-win. I do think that this week's game, I think you have to, for a variety of reasons.
Must win mathematically? No.
Must win mathematically? No.
Okay.
No. Because you can still take the home game against the Eagles, but then you have to beat
must win
the Giants.
Philosophically.
By the way, okay, this transitions very nicely into a conversation on if we can win one of the next three. Let's say we manage to split against Philadelphia and lose against Dallas, and then we have to win a Week 18 game against the New York Giants. Can we just look into that crystal ball here for a second, just to get to 8, which again I think gets us into the playoffs. It's terrible. It's going to be the worst. That to me would be the most depressing situation of all time, where we have to win to get a losing record to qualify for the playoffs. I'm telling you right now, it's not out of the question. If we have to win that New York game, whether it's to get to 8 or 9 wins, if we have to win that New York game, can you imagine the freaking clench factor of this basement during that week? Because they're going to be so terrible that week.
I technically can't clench, but
but you know it. You know it. I don't.
Sorry if that was too much.
It's like a theoretical, spiritual clench. And I know you can spiritually clench. First of all, so I just want to. I need this drink that I'm drinking right now. I'm gonna take it in, but I want to save it for that week. I just need to start reserve saving some drinks for that New York Giants game because it's going to be so stupid. So stupid. I think we should beat them by 100 points. But they're going to launch out to a 20-point lead with their 8th stringers.
Yeah, it's the Giants. I know.
They're going to be dying to lose the game for a draft pick.
I feel the same thing about this weekend.
Elevation.
We should beat Philadelphia.
Yes, we should.
To an oblivion.
In front of their fans.
And yet, I think it's probably going to be a horribly played by both teams game and end in like a 1917 finale. It's going to be
1917, like the year, World War II style.
Yeah. No,
1917?
like 19 to 17.
Okay, and like single camera shot the whole
Like
way through.
it's just yeah, it's going to be entertaining to watch. There's going to be a lot going on. It's going to come down to the end, and we're going to be thankful we got out with a win.
I want to honor the manner in which we left the field on Sunday by winning this coming Sunday against Philadelphia, because I need us to hit the Cowboys after a win. We can't be free falling at 2 straight losses when we go to Dallas in 2 weeks on December 26th. We can't be in our terrible mode where we're all everyone's pointing fingers and arguing with each other, and Ron Rivera's the worst, and Jack Del Rio can't coach, and Scott Turner's the worst play caller ever, which he needs to work on. And Antonio Gibson's not the answer, and Taylor Heineke's gone, and we need and Chase Young's a bust, and all this ridiculous nonsense that's going to come out of everyone's mouth if we are all of a sudden in the wrong spot next week. So I say that to me is the incentive and motivation to beat Philadelphia this Sunday. Beating Philadelphia is its own reward, as we all know. No matter what is on the line, beating them feels good. But beating them and getting to Dallas on a little bit of a better footing.
Note.
Yeah, to me that's key. That's why I called it a must win.
You probably are. You're right. Yeah. You're right for all those reasons. So yes, it's a must win philosophically. Yes.
And the clinch.
And you have my score.
And the clinch. What's your clinch? You're 1917?
Yeah, 1917.
Oh God damn. 1917. Wow. I was hoping you were just bullshitting me.
No, that was true.
I'm having like an ulcer just thinking about that. Like I don't want to sign up for that at all. I hate that. That idea makes me sad and upset, and I want to cry. I'm gonna be more optimistic than that. I'm going to say we're gonna win 29 to 17, and that's 3 field goals from our new kicker from Gonzaga.
I don't know if we're capable of being that far ahead.
Well,
but we'll see.
I don't know when we're going to get that far
I like the game that you're calling better.
29-17.
That's a better game.
3 field goals, 3 touchdowns, and we beat up some Eagles. Please come back and join us next Tuesday night, where we will be doing our pre-Christmas episode, where T dresses as a reindeer, and it's amazing and it's great. I'm not going to tell you which one. You're going to have to guess. There's 8 of them. Technically 9, if you include Rudolph. It's easy to pick out. Traditionally, Kevin's Rudolph. Spoiler alert. We really appreciate you guys hanging out with us during the holiday season. It's a fun time to be a Washington football team fan. We will continue to cover the team inside and out. 24/17 Skins from Manner of Speaking. Love seeing you there tonight. All the guys and gals who joined us on the board tonight, we appreciate your time. We wish you a happy, healthy holiday season. We're going to keep on coming at you 1 week at a time. Give us a like if we said something you liked. If we didn't, don't like it. I mean, you have to take your finger and actually push the clicker. It's a lot of work to ask. I don't want to overburden anybody, but you hit the thumbs up. Helps us out. Be a subscriber. First Amendment Sports helps us out. It's free. We appreciate you. Signs over there. We'll get that in post. Until next week, Kevin Ricka, not here. He's Tim Strachan.
Yo, F them Eagles, man. Screw them. Wash your ass.
Don't forget to wash your ass.
Don't forget. Wash your ass.
First of all, I love that. I want to be like quietly
supportive
of it. I don't want to. I don't want to ruin it by throwing my arms around it.
You did the blower?
I haven't done the blower yet.
Ah, shit. So you haven't washed your ass.
Kevin brought the jetpack leaf blower.
Wash your ass.
Wash your ass. That is kind of a basement saying now. Appreciate you guys. I'm Ken Marangolo on behalf of First Amendment Sports. This was, thank God, it's Tuesday. We're still live.
We're getting some predictions in here.
Predictions?
Yeah.
24-17.
Manner of speaking says 24-17.
What's on the wall between the pictures? All right, so that's a sconce. It's not a security camera or any kind of alarm system. I just didn't put the light on because I wanted to have more of a blue light tonight. Bruce, Marvin, Bob. What else do you want? The 1937.
Yeah, 1937.
Yeah, 1937.
That's the picture that we have for the
Turk
for
Edwards
tonight's show.
leading the charge with his dog, and of course Benjamin, proof of life, still alive. Missed you, EO. Robert
Good
Cohen.
show, boys, on the board. Thank you very much. See you next week. I'm gonna have to drink next week. It's Christmas. It's the Christmas show.